Hello everyone and welcome back to a brand new video where today we return with round 6 of the F1 22 Haas Road to Glory. Yesterday we're here back in Barcelona. Of course, if you missed out on the video that went live towards the end of last week from Miami, I would highly recommend going back and checking out. Of course, a very interesting race. What a weird one from the Miami beachside Grand Prix circuit. But yeah, we return back to Europe though this weekend here at Circuit Barcelona. Of course, quickly before we jump into this, first of all, if you don't want any spoilers, definitely recommend going back and checking that out. As well, I just want to say a massive thank you to all of you for the continued support on the channel. Of course, we're now getting very close at the time of recording this to 92,000 subscribers. 8,000 to go. 1 month left of 2022. If we can try and get 100k still, that is the big goal by the end of the year. So, if you're not already, please do make sure you get yourself subscribed for daily Formula 1 related content as well. And I know I'm going to get questions asked about this in the comments. My team Season 4... tomorrow. Pre-season testing is going to kick off tomorrow. We'll have the first race of the year out on Friday as well. So yeah, that is your warning for that. We're definitely going to be returning with my team very soon. And I'll be honest, I've seen some of the driver transfers. There's a couple of spicy moves going on in that series as well. So definitely, if you want to get yourself subscribed for that. But of course, yeah, we've got plenty going on though in the Haas Road to Glory at the moment. A couple of big upgrades potentially going on the car this weekend. Championship-wise, we still lead the way, 13 clear of Carlos Sainz. We really have just been super consistent early on this year. They're the only driver with 2 wins on the board. Yeah, Sainz still in P2, though ahead of Max Verstappen, who's starting now to bring his championship form back around. Charles Leclerc 4th ahead of Sergio Perez, who, yeah, was mighty consistent at the start of the year, and then has pretty much been nowhere over the last couple of weekends. But let's see if both these upgrades then are going to go onto the car successfully. The Y250 Vortex generators are on. We're going to earn some more R&D points as well for our troubles. And we've got aerodynamic morale, which apparently is just going to go on automatically. And the DRS maximum slot gap upgrade has gone on as well there. So we're making good progress. We are now the best team in Formula 1 there, but I mean the top 4 are all so tightly bunched together still. It is very close to call early on in the campaign. Aerodynamics is still definitely where this car's struggling, so we're going to try and see if we can apply a couple more upgrades as we head into the next couple of weekends. That's going to be ready just after Baku. And then that one again is going to be ready just before Baku. So, we're slowly building this car up at the moment. We've got to try and keep up with the development race. But let's get into it though. Spanish GP weekend. Fingers crossed we can try and continue on this good run of form. And maybe those aero upgrades will come in handy. Here we are then, back at the Spanish Grand Prix circuit and looking rather overcast at the moment around this venue. It's not meant to rain on Saturday, but rain is certainly predicted for the start of the Grand Prix tomorrow. Another changeable conditions race in the My Team career mode. How many of, in the Haas Road to Glory even, I should say. I think that's what, 4 of the 6 races so far have had rain at some point. It was only the 2 out in the Middle East at the start of the year that didn't get any rain. So it's, yeah, potentially going to be quite a crazy start to the year, and often I've said this Haas car not best suited to the rain, but you know what, it's delivered still. So some very good races early on in this campaign, and we just got to try and keep that momentum up. Like I said, really this car is definitely still geared more towards top end speed, so I'm expecting Monaco and Barcelona to be a little bit more difficult over the next couple of weekends. Baku, Canada should suit this car a little bit more, so maybe it's going to be a question of damage limitation, but we are trying to get more and more upgrades on and sorted as well. Of course, we're trying to get this thing so it's competitive everywhere, and of course we have got a couple of points lead in the championship as well, that we can fall back on if needed. Say Ferrari come out the gate really strong this weekend, or even Red Bull as well. Of course, Max Verstappen now a winner, of course, at the Miami Grand Prix last weekend, but round in the final couple of corners then of this first qualifying lap there, really rattled the car over the curb and through the final couple of turns. K-Mag, I think, was fastest at the moment. Sainz goes even faster. Where are we going to be crashing for Ferrari? Couple of tenths away. That's all right.
Yes, mate, that's P2. You're currently in second place.
Clearly, Mark loving that. Right, less than a minute on the clock then, trying to make sure we've got some free space ready for our last-ditch attempt here. And yeah, times have been tumbling over the course of the session, of course, as the circuit gets rubbered in and everything like that. Kevin Magnussen now has done a 1:16.7, so that's probably the benchmark that we're going to try and chase here. But one more run then from Barcelona as we head out of the final corner, put the throttle to the floor. Of course, yeah, these modern Formula 1 cars, especially with the ground effect, for a corner like the final turn here at Barcelona, it really is, yeah, actually quite a satisfying and flat-out affair there, braking just before the 50-metre board down at turn 1. I like to really attack the curbs there, but don't want to clip that sausage curb. Lucky just to gather it all up there, but certainly a tenth immediately thrown away as we try and get the power down nicely at the top of the hill, braking at the 50-metre board, flick the car in 4th gear through the next turn, and then you just try and work out what the rear end's doing when you can get back on full throttle as we head down the hill. Car really wants to fall away from the apex through there. But yeah, track grip is definitely up. Made a bit of a mistake through here last time round. Clipped the curb. So going to be able to get a bit braver on the exit this time. Counts the corner up next, almost flat out. Not quite sure this Haas has got the grip to completely take it pinned, but we are finding time as the lap unfolds. Just got to keep it clean and tidy through this final sector there as we try and roll on the throttle as we head up the hill in towards the final couple of turns we'll go. Again, got to keep it clean and tidy there. Someone else has just improved. Didn't quite catch who that was. Max Verstappen now goes fastest on a 16.3 at the final corner. Charles Leclerc even faster there. We are going to go around the same time as K-Mag. It's a 16.7. It's P5. Well, what a lap from Charles Leclerc then. Beats his teammate Carlos Sainz. Of course, Carlos is home Grand Prix here, and he's 6/10 away from pole, down in P9 there. But you know what? 5th and 6th laps that you take looking at the 3rd row of the grid here in Barcelona. Charles Leclerc mega fast. Max Verstappen as well wants to try and make it 2 wins on the bounce there. And Lando Norris constantly delivering absolutely everything in that McLaren car as well. But yeah, starting P5 then here for the Spanish Grand Prix. Let's do this thing.
The Spanish Grand Prix has been a permanent fixture on the Formula 1 calendar for over 30 years now, and for good reason. Do you remember Michael Schumacher's absolute dominance here in that rain-soaked Grand Prix in 1996? That day he took his first ever victory for Ferrari, and we've had many more iconic moments since. It's 730 metres from pole position down to a slippery turn 1 here, the first of 16 corners around this 2.89-mile racetrack. The long, wide turn 3 and the uphill right-hander of turn 9 can both be taken full throttle in the right conditions, but I doubt very much we'll be seeing any of that today. Off the back of a fantastic qualifying session, it's time to see how our starting grid looks like for today's race. Charles Leclerc lines up on pole position, and Max Verstappen lines up alongside. Considering the rest of the grid, we have Norris, Perez, Mr. Monaco, and Magnussen, Hamilton, Ricciardo, Sainz, and George Russell, Albon, Ocon, Pierre Gasly, and Mick Schumacher, Vettel, Stroll, Yuki Tsunoda, and Guan Yu Zhou, Bottas, and Nicholas Latifi. With preparations almost complete, let's head down to the track. It's not going to be plain sailing for our drivers today, although with the sky falling as it is, perhaps sailing isn't too far from the truth. Natalie Pinkham, good to have you with us here today. Your thoughts?
It is a touch damp, isn't it? As a driver, there are 3 big things to worry about when racing in these conditions: standing water, tyre temperature, and visibility. Judging distance to the cars around you is really tricky when you're driving through the vast amounts of spray that these wet weather Pirelli tyres kick up.
Okay, now that we've got some good points on the board, let's continue this form and aim for another top 10 finish.
Doesn't seem to get that we're battling for a world championship, but there we go, that's just him. It is, yeah, certainly going to be an interesting one today. Those strategy calls are going to have to be absolutely on point, and based on the last couple of race weekends, Imola we nailed it, Miami we didn't. So we'll wait and see what we can do here today. But yeah, I think the goal is just try and go as far as possible on that first set of inters. You know, even if the rain does hang around to sort of lap 20, lap 25, then we don't really want to have it to be make a swap onto another set of intermediate tyres. However, this is quite similar conditions to what we had at Albert Park a few races ago. And of course, if you remember that weekend, it never actually dried up. So we'll wait and see as to what happens here. Of course, hopefully, we can try and get a good start in the rain. But we'll wait and see what happens as, yeah, fourth gear is going to be the key early on.
ETA on this rain clearing up in about 10 minutes. Just keep your concentration out there. You're doing well.
Okay, well, definitely doesn't seem like we're going to get Australia 2.0 then. Rain apparently is meant to be stopping in 10 minutes. That's probably only going to be about lap 6. By heading out of the final corner then, let's see if we can try and get a good start here in Barcelona. P5 on the grid. Still, yeah, haven't had a pole this season, have we? If I'm not mistaken. Trying to think, yeah, no, I don't think we've had a pole yet in this series, unless we got one back at Saudi Arabia. I can't remember off the top of my head, but purple score on the lineup then. Just waiting on, I think it's probably Nicholas Latifi rounding out the grid.
That's the rest of the grid forming up now. Be patient and watch for those lights.
Let's see what we can do then here today. I think it's going to be one of those races where we don't really quite know what's going on till towards the end, but yeah, fingers crossed we can just try and get a good start. Waiting on those 5 red lights. Lights out and away we go. Not a long hold at all. As we try and put the power down, Kevin Magnussen's romped away as clearly all the cars on the right-hand side, the right-hand side have got a much better start. Perez trying to have a look around the outside of Lando Norris in towards turn 1. Ricciardo tries to send it up the inside of myself there as well. Don't make contact with Kevin Magnussen at the start. Having to back out of that one as K-Mag just tried to give me a bit of a squeeze there. Ricciardo sneaks by. George Russell sneaks by as well as Hamilton. Going to try and have a look up the inside as well. Thinks better of it. Backs out off the corner as Carlos Sainz down to P10. Here comes Lewis Hamilton again, though. In towards the next turn. Don't want to do what he and K-Mag did in real life 2022. As, yeah, really struggling at the start of this one. Then wrong place at the wrong time down at turn 1. And now we just cannot get heat into the tyres. As Carlos Sainz then trying to have a look around the outside as we head down the hill. And we are just going backwards at the start of this Grand Prix. Now we've got to get our elbows out there to defend the place from Carlos as we head down through turn 8 there, but yeah, really not getting away the way we needed to at the start of this Grand Prix. The same can't be said for Max Verstappen though, as here comes Carlos Sainz again. Everyone is just going very, very brave at the start of this race, and we've just got nothing on these rear tyres there as we head back up the hill in through the final sector. Look at the way Sainz is just able to pull away from me. Has been a little while since I've driven the Haas car, so maybe just lacking confidence at the start of this one as well. But we had the same thing back at Albert Park, and then of course Miami was a very, very different story. So seems like this thing can still be a little bit unpredictable. There is Esteban Ocon now trying to apply pressure at the final corner. Our former teammate Mick Schumacher doing very, very well. Got that Williams up into P12 as Ocon will just back out of it into T1, but yeah, not the start we would have wanted then, all the way down to P10, but really lacking confidence and just out-and-out bravery. As again, through turn 3 there, another big wobble, and the AI just able to pick up the throttle quite nicely. This Esteban Ocon going to try and have a look again. We'll just try and squeeze him, and the Frenchman will bail out of it. Well, end of lap 3 then, Verstappen's still setting the pace at the front of the field, but yeah, the gap's starting to come the right direction to the cars in front of me. They are slowly building up some more confidence in the car once more, but yeah, still just so weird the fact, obviously, the AI are just immediately up to temperature, up to confidence in the changeable conditions there. And of course, I'm not a robot. I don't know what the grip's like, but obviously they just do, and it kind of makes things a little bit unbalanced at the start of a Grand Prix. But yeah, now we're getting there.
Careful you don't burn out your tyres.
There we go, Mark saying just be careful not to burn out the tyres. I don't think we're going to do that 4 laps in, but yeah, we just want to try and bring that gap back down. If we can get it under 2 seconds, then that might not be such a bad thing here, and we can really try and push on. I'm hoping the car comes on strong in the dry, but we are getting quicker and quicker each lap, so track conditions are improving.
0.9 seconds.
But yeah, the gap to Sainz is pretty much just stagnated just below 3 seconds. Verstappen and Leclerc are still pushing on at the front of the field. And looks like Kevin Magnussen has just been able to pull away from the Mercs a bit slightly as well. But yeah, I'm really hoping that we've accidentally sort of kept quite a dry orientated setup, and I felt like I compromised it enough that it would be good in the rain at the start of this Grand Prix. We did definitely take a little bit off our qualifying potential just to make sure that we were comfortable.
We're still definitely on the right tyre for the time being, but we're probably not a million miles away from slick conditions.
No, I reckon it'll probably be about lap 11, lap 12. We might be making the call, but then, of course, the question is, what tyres do we go on to? Are we just going to be able to go hards to the end and really struggle to build up temperature in them, or is it worth doing either a double soft or a soft medium to see us through? I reckon it might be worth having all the grip, but we'll wait and see. Well, there is still definitely a dry line forming at the moment, but it's still going to be a few laps away. Barcelona as a circuit doesn't tend to dry out particularly quickly either, at least from previous games' experience. So I think, yeah, definitely when we do make the call over onto the dries, it will be a set of the soft compound tyres. Luckily, I think we have got at least one new set of those ready for the GP itself. But yeah, Verstappen going even faster up the front of the field. So track conditions are improving. That's a horrible line through the final couple of turns. And of course, the AI just can switch it up every single lap. I cannot. We are pulling away from Ocon and Albon behind us in their Alpines. They must be having such a boring year so far. They've definitely not got the pace to match the big boys. But they're a lot quicker than the back markers as well. I think it might be Daniel Ricciardo that's just slowing up proceedings up the road. Seems like there's a gap forming that's getting larger and larger behind Kevin Magnussen, who again just doesn't quite seem like he's got the pace to hang on to the front runners here. But yeah, it's been quite a quiet first few laps to the Spanish Grand Prix. Hopefully it will spice up a little bit, because yeah, at the moment we just kind of having to circulate and wait for hopefully track conditions to change for the better. Getting to quite a weird point in this Grand Prix where now I'm starting to wonder whether it's worth the track drying up just yet, or maybe if the AI can box onto another set of intermediates, then we could try and get the jump on quite a few of them. But Verstappen is just going faster and faster each lap. I think last time round I lost about 8/10 to the Dutchman, so we might have the quickest car on paper, but we are absolutely not the quickest car on circuit at the moment. In fact, we've even started just dropping back slightly from those cars in front of us once again, so it is really difficult to sort of call what's happening at this stage of the Grand Prix, but we've just got to work through it and hope that this race can come back to us. Patience is key, but it really has been such an up and down year for pretty much every driver so far that the fact the top two in the championship in 9th and 10th doesn't even seem that crazy. And might have gone fastest, but Lando Norris has gone even faster behind him. We're still improving lap on lap as well. Now we're starting to take a little bit of time out of the cars in front once again, but I've just had to check the tyres as well. If we ended up in an Albert Park situation, it does look like we would have enough grip on this rubber to no stop again if required. It's just not drying up at all. It is like Albert Park. I mean, there it was a bit different and the rain was still hanging around, but it just isn't drying up here, as I think that's the first time today we've gone purple through a sector. We're finally perhaps just starting to unlock a little bit more of what this Haas car's got to offer. I mean, I was expecting this track to dry up on about lap 10, 11 or so. It's now lap 15 or lap 16 for the leaders, and it's starting just to look scarily... it's always that thing, isn't it, in Formula 1, of when it looks quite glassy, that's when a Formula 1 circuit is its absolute worst. There's not much grip still around, but we are definitely getting closer and closer to the dry compound tyres. However, what dry compound tyres is it going to be? I reckon we might have to bolt on a set of mediums and just see them through to the checkered flag. Otherwise, you know, a two-stop in 15 laps or so is probably not going to be worth it round here. But
2.7 seconds.
Are we going to see the AI start to pit before then? Will they be smart and hang out? Or will we start to see a few of them potentially have used more of their tyres than we have? No, we're definitely not, Mark. That is still very, very early to be making a call to the dries, but we might see the AI in for another set of inters. It is not dry conditions just yet. It's definitely getting there, but it's probably going to be at least another 3 or 4 laps. To be honest, at the moment, I've got no idea. It's so unpredictable. Very, very good fun, but so unpredictable. And why do we keep getting it in the Haas Road to Glory? Every single weekend, it feels like. Well, so far, no one boxing yet as we go into the 124s. What two? Mark, don't tell me that, and then don't tell me what we think we need. Just tell me what we're doing, please. Although, I listened to him last weekend and it didn't work.
The car behind is dropping back by about 3/10 a lap. Well done.
That's not what I care about at the moment. Tell me what tyres we need to be on to be the fastest car on circuit. Please.
Check your MFD for a new strategy option.
Here we go. There we go. You say mediums now. Let's rock then a set of mediums from now to the checkered flag. Second half of this Grand Prix. Don't think softs will do 15 laps. They might be much quicker to begin with, but they would probably be absolutely wrecked towards the end. Charles Leclerc into the pits. Lando Norris opting to hang out one extra one as Perez into the pits as well. So it's definitely the time to be pitting then. Of course, Kevin Magnussen wheel peel in as well there, but Merc have split, Ferrari have split. So maybe there are going to be some places to be gained as into the pits will come. Make sure we get the car slowed down nice and tidy. I don't feel like this is going to be one of those situations where they lose out a huge amount of time staying out there. Luckily, we're doing the same strategy as everyone else as well. We are definitely going to lose out a bit though as the team try to get everything set up, as don't want to run over our rear jackman. So we are going to lose a bit of time. 2.7, and we pretty much were flooring it as the car came off the jacks. But yeah, now we just got to keep it clean and tidy. And annoyingly, we are going to come out in a bit of traffic. Let's see how much grip we've got over the likes of Bottas. Well, that is quite understeery. I mean, to be honest, at the moment, we're just getting screwed again. Esteban Ocon has, of course, come out of the pit lane and immediately has got all the grip he could ever ask for. And we absolutely just do not. Plenty of other cars into the pit lane. No, I mean, yeah, we've definitely lost that a fair bit to Kevin Magnussen, but we've lost out even more to all those cars that have hung out on the inters, because we just do not have the grip at the moment. Going to be out quite close to Albon on pit exit. And look at this Esteban Ocon now. He's going for a move on me. There's Albon. And we've lost 8 seconds, or about 5 seconds, sorry, I should say, to the cars we were battling there. As what is Ocon doing through turn 1? Got to try and get these sides up to temperature, but this has been such a tough weekend once more. Just lacked confidence, and it's been the perfect storm, literally, for the AI to capitalise. 9 seconds to Hamilton's signs up the road. We might be confined to P10 pretty much all day here. There we go, it's definitely the right tyres to be on as we went purple through the final sector. And we've got these tyres up to scrub. Not going to give up just yet. We are going to see if we can try and close up those gaps, but it's basically going to be 13 qualifying laps to the end to see if we can double our points haul at the very least. And that's the pace we have got then here at Barcelona. Once the track's dried out, we are the fastest car on circuit at the moment and trying to take time out of Hamilton up the road. And effectively, though, we've still got another 11 qualifying laps left here, but it's not out of the realms of possibility. We are going quite a lot quicker. Maybe if George Russell struggles, we can close up to that train of cars, because this has been, apart from that little battle with Ocon a couple of laps ago, quite a lonely Grand Prix. I apologise. I think, to be honest, what we could really do with this afternoon is a nice late race safety car result. Yellow flag's out. One of the Alfa Romeos clearly in the walls, but I think they've just span out. Oh, more yellow flags out though. Someone else with issues.
Let's get back up to racing speed. Come on.
Or apparently not. I don't know what's going on. We're just starting to get a couple of little things kicking off. As Albon is out of the Grand Prix. Alex Albon then out here at Barcelona, but it isn't going to give us a safety car. Can't help but wonder what could have been today had we had, you know, a bit more luck on our side and good tyre warm-up, as someone's taken my fastest lap bonus point and I didn't see who or what time. So that's a bit frustrating. Could have really done with that. Never know by the end of the season. But yeah, at the moment though, I feel like, yeah, had we had fair tyre warm-up, you know, at the start of the Grand Prix and after the pit stops, we could have probably still been around George Russell, Kevin Magnussen here. I don't think we would have had the pace to win today, but you just never know what might have been possible, and it's just a bit frustrating, you know, there's little balancing issues like that still in F1 22 that I really hope do get patched and fixed for next year's game. Leclerc can try and steal my fastest lap, but we will absolutely have it back. 5 seconds to the cars in front though. Unless they start really battling, we are not going to have enough by the end. This has been... I really do apologise, because this has not been the most exciting race in the world in terms of on-track action. We basically dropped to P10 at the start. We had one tiny battle with Ocon, and that's basically been it. We've just been trying to close up to the cars in front all afternoon. But yeah, it has exposed a couple of this game's fatal flaws still. You know, like I said, it just needs a bit of balancing, a bit of reworking still, you know, a bit of a change in the numbers with the way the AI just able to fire up the tyres. You know, the cold tyre thing is a really great addition, but it just hasn't been worked out. And maybe, you know, next year's game, you know, we've seen this before with coders that they'll bring in a feature and it will kind of be not half-baked necessarily, but not quite there, and then it will take them a game or two to really sort of get it dialed in. But you know, I'm really hoping that's the case, because it's just a bit frustrating at times. I came a bit out of nowhere, to be honest, kind of just plugging away laps to get to the flag, but 3 to go and we do set another new fastest lap of the day. Yeah, it's just frustrating, isn't it? You know, with the fact I'm kind of looking at it now, we lost about 5-6 seconds over the 1 lap pit window, and that meant we could have probably been battling with those cars in front. It's just, yeah, like I said, it just needs balancing on F1 22. And you know, I'm not the greatest driver in the world, I completely understand that, but you know, it feels like it's a system that has got a lot of potential, but it just doesn't affect the AI the way it affects you. And maybe this Haas car, you know, I think this thing is probably quite notorious for it as well. We haven't seen Kevin Magnussen drop back into the clutches of George Russell and co. It was just me falling away from him. Round in the final couple of corners though to start the last lap here from the Spanish Grand Prix. And yeah, it's definitely a story of what could have been today, but that's the way racing goes sometimes. I'm very, very worried that we're going to see Verstappen or Leclerc try and snooker away our fastest lap points again. As there we go, George Russell, Ricciardo. Now finally they're starting to battle it out on this final lap. So yeah, certainly left it far too late for me to get involved, but maybe we'll get a little bit of added spice on this final one. There is Ricciardo trying to hook it up right around the outside of George Russell. Kimi Raikkonen style there at the top of... Sums it up, doesn't it? Oh, that really does sum it up. Ocon luckily is way too far back to do anything about it, but too busy watching another battle, and we've just gone for a cheeky pirouette on the final lap of the Grand Prix. I think we have taken quite a lot out of these tyres as well there when all is said and done. But yeah, is Verstappen or Leclerc going to nick my fast lap bonus point? It's pretty much consolation prize. I think with that result as well, Verstappen will take the lead of the Drivers' World Championship. The Dutchman back on top for the second weekend in a row. Charles Leclerc will come through for P2 when all is said and done. Lando Norris, a fantastic podium in his McLaren there ahead of Sergio Perez. K-Mag did still get some good points for the team, but we have lost out in a big, big way to Red Bull and Ferrari this weekend. George Russell P6 there did hang on ahead of Ricciardo. Sainz, Hamilton, and we're going to come through for a very, very disappointing P10. A frustrating afternoon, but we got to the end and we did bring home 2 solid points.
Okay, pick up rubber and bring it home.
Another Spanish Grand Prix is over, and what a special race it was. Natalie Pinkham, how do you think they were able to set themselves apart today?
Well, they certainly stood out as a driver with tons of confidence on the track. I think their ability to keep their cool, even during some of the more hectic parts of the race, meant they were able to capitalise on the mistakes of other drivers, giving them the opportunity to make their way to the top spot with ease.
Red Bull put up an outstanding fight for the front position today, and it's great to see it paid off for them. They do so much for the sports that you can't help but be delighted by today's race win. So let's see what effect this result has had on the drivers' standings. Max Verstappen now leads the Drivers' Championship. So then, Natalie Pinkham, who would you rank as your driver of the day?
Yuki Tsunoda gets my vote today.
It's time to check out the constructors' standings and Red Bull take over as championship leaders. After an event like that, who knows what the sport has in store for us next time out? Be sure to join us once again as we continue to bring you all the excitement of Formula One.
Well, there we go then. Max Verstappen, back-to-back race victories there. He will take the lead of the Drivers' World Championship. Charles Leclerc ran him close throughout a lot of the afternoon, but just couldn't quite have enough to get past his big championship rival there. Lando Norris P3 ahead of Perez and K-Mag, like we said. Russell, Ricciardo, Sainz, Hamilton, myself rounding out the top 10. And yeah, I can't help but feel that fast as that bonus point showcased the pace that we did feel like there was in the car, but just could not quite deliver it consistently enough this afternoon. Just Alex Albon, who didn't make it to the checkered flag, means championship-wise, yet Max Verstappen leads the way now 5 points clear of myself. Charles Leclerc now rejumps his teammate Carlos Sainz up into P3. And yeah, I mean, 5 drivers separated by 25 points at the top of the standings. Kevin Magnussen's good result puts him back ahead of Hamilton. Ricciardo rejumps Albon as well in their little battle going on for P10. No other movers, though, towards the bottom of the field. And yeah, constructors-wise, though, Red Bull reclaim the lead there as well. 5 points now ahead of Ferrari. We're still P3. They're a little way ahead of McLaren and Mercedes as well. And yeah, 4 teams still yet to score after the opening few weekends. Goes to show just how much of a stronghold the Big Five have got after the opening few race weekends of the campaign. But thank you all so much for watching this video nonetheless. If you have enjoyed, please do make sure you leave a like, get yourselves subscribed, and we will return very, very soon. We head to the duel in the Formula One crown. Yep, next time out, it'll be the Monaco Grand Prix. You guys do not want to miss that. None of these videos would be possible without the help of our channel members, so a massive thank you to all of the names you see on your screens currently for helping support the channel. You can join them by clicking the join button down below, and yeah, thank you once again to everyone that continues all the insane support on my work.